Hey there, Taurus. My name's Drew. This is Modern Tarot. Those of you that are new here, welcome. And those of you returning, welcome back. This is a reading, guys, for the last couple of weeks of June. Okay, so what might be happening around you? Well, choice in love, but there's no communication. Taurus, I know some of you were leaving something behind because it was just taken away from your abundance and you were healing and you were trying to get your life back on track after being a little bit overwhelmed by a connection. But somebody wasn't showing up for you. They were keeping you almost in an anxious attachment or like breadcrumbs and these kind of things. But it was a deep connection for a lot of you. So Taurus, let's have a look at what's happening last couple of weeks of June. Okay, work, love, life. So I think I'm about done on that. Okay, what's your confidence levels, Taurus, throughout the last couple of weeks of June? Watch out for someone heavy fire in their chart, a woman who might be a bit bitchy towards you. Okay, just watch out for her. Heads up, okay, whoever that might be for you. Now, center of the reading, Taurus. Spirituality, the high priestess, your intuition, Taurus. Some of you might, your spiritual awakening might have really kicked in. You might be feeling much more peaceful, duality of life, really seeing things, but beyond the veil, no more illusions. The high priestess, she knows it all, but she doesn't talk about it. So she's the silent watcher, speaks when spoken to, but she sits back, she watches, she trusts her intuition. Super spiritual card for you, Taurus, okay, as the center of the reading. Challenge for you is some kind of a choice. What's this choice, Taurus? It's a challenge for you to make this. So it's almost like, I know I've been here with the wand behind him, and then there's another wand, which is almost like the Page of Wands now, and the world. Is it a challenge for you to really take that wand and get going again, Taurus? Reason why it's all happening? Knight of Swords. Some of you might have... Look, some of you might be thinking of air travel throughout the month of June, just saying. Okay, we've got the Knight of Swords here. If not, this could be fast. You might have heard communication from somebody, okay, which has left you with a decision to make. Okay. In the recent past, okay, some kind of victory was had, Taurus, whatever that might mean. I think this has come out in the same position for you in various readings. In the recent past, you might have gained victory over something. You might have gotten noticed. If it's about work here, you might have chosen, some of you guys might have chosen to work in the holistic field, and you've heard news about maybe a new start, and you were victorious in that. Just for some of you, not a personal reading, guys. Remember, your focus. Look, another card of travel. We've got the World here. Also, endings and brand new beginnings, Taurus. This is a good reading. What you don't see coming towards you, work is going to be very busy throughout the last couple of weeks of June. This could be you working hard on something, Taurus, or somebody wanting to put the work in. We're going to go deeper with this reading and find out. Your energetic field, Three of Cups in reverse. You might not be feeling that sociable. You might not want to reunite, okay, with someone. You might not be about, heavy partying and these kind of things, Outside influences, we've got the Empress in reverse. Some of you have come to the realization that, intuitively, I've been getting all these signs and symbols with the High Priestess here that somebody just wasn't the one. I really thought they were. Empress in reverse, an outside influence. Someone might be suffering from low self-worth, I'm just saying, okay? You're fearing change, Taurus, throughout the last couple of weeks. Okay, change is difficult. Not many people like change, You're an earth sign, creature comforts, these kind of things, all right? But you don't fear don't fear destiny. That's basically what it's saying, Taurus. Okay, outcome, last 2 weeks of June, we've got the Ten of Cups in reverse, all right? The Ten of Cups in the upright, it's all about emotional bliss. So I think really a lot of you guys throughout the last couple of weeks of June, you're really going to be relying on your spiritual side. You've got choices to make. You might have been impulsive in the past, but you know what? You're kind of like, your focus now is a new cycle, a new beginning. okay? Where you're only really putting in work to reciprocal situations, okay? You will work together with someone, but the slightest sign of you're doing all the work, then that's an old cycle, Taurus, where we give too much, forms of codependency and all these kind of things. Let me clarify this reading now. It's an interesting reading in many respects. Let's have a look. Why is the High Priestess here, Taurus, as the center of this reading? Some of you guys, there might have been a very much a spiritual connection, and someone had a decision to make, and I think they were too young spiritually to make it with the Knight of Swords here. It's a knight, it's not a king or a queen, okay? Why is the High Priestess here? Okay, intuitively, Taurus, you still have a lot of affection for somebody. This could be someone with heavy water in their chart, I'm just saying. But, we've got the High Priestess, the King of Cups, and we've got the Six of Swords. So intuitively, you know you need to move on, even though you still have a lot of emotion for somebody, okay? Maybe somebody with heavy water in their chart. It's a challenge to make that decision. What's the decision? It's a challenge, it's a challenge to end the cycle. It's a challenge to end in order for a new beginning to happen, Taurus, okay? Endings are always challenging, okay? But where there's an ending, there's a new beginning. Easier said than done, guys, I know. Okay, some of you might have got some communication and it left you stuck again, Taurus. And, do you want to perpetuate more of the same? Do you want to be stuck? In the recent past, you got some kind of victory over heartbreak, over a third party situation, just for some of you. Some kind of victory was had there. Or I want to go to your focus, actually. Yeah, look, your focus now is endings, new beginnings. What else is out there? Seven of Cups, in this position, I don't think it's. Some of you want the end of confusion, spiritual confusion. Where we have these connections and they take up so much of our time, care, and attention. They can be intrusive into our sleep, into our day-to-day living because they're so intense, these energetic cords. And some of you, you want to end the confusion about all of that. And so some of you might practice cord cutting, these kind of things, all right? But others of you, your focus might be traveling for some of you, and there's many options, and you're going to use your intuition as to destinations, which one sits in line with my intuition. So you're going to feel the destination as opposed to, oh, it looks nice and sunny there. It's going to be, is there a calling there? Does that make sense? And so your focus, Taurus, is endings. What else is out there? Options and choices. Okay, it's a focus of yours. What's next for me? Right, just watch out. Somebody might want to work on something after they were deceitful. Okay, then that's up to you, Taurus, whether you want to take someone back. But you would have to really clear it up, because if you take them back willy-nilly and you're codependent to getting them back, you just give them permission to do it all over again. All right. So, no sweeping shit under the carpet, Taurus, challenging conversations, because you don't want to be stuck with incoming fast communication that really want to work on it after I was deceptive. All right. Just for some of you, not a personal reading. Yeah. A lot of you, you're not about reuniting. You just want to drop the burden. So energetically, you're dropping it. You are focused on the world, a new cycle in life. What else is out there for me? I know that there's going to be snakes, people wearing fake masks. There's also some beautiful stuff out there. I'm more discerning now. I'm going to use my High Priestess, my intuition. Outside influences, we've got, just for some, okay, we've got the Empress in reverse and we've got the Queen of Pentacles. Now, how I would read this as a tarot reader, okay, somebody might be already committed elsewhere, I'm just saying, and you realize they're not the one for me. They're committed elsewhere. Others might be nurturing a situation, you might have a spiritual bond with someone and they're nurturing a situation where they don't believe they're with the one, but they're stuck in it for finances, just for some of you, all right? Don't want to focus too much on that. Your fears is taking control of destiny, Taurus. So there might be an internal conflict within you about, damn, letting go, starting again, fearful. But you know what? I'm actually scared of how things might work out for you. Some of you might be fearing destiny, fearing success. Watch that, guys. All right. We can fear failure, but some of you might be fearing success. All right. With the Empress in reverse there as an outside influences. Okay. The outcome, watch out for this. Okay. So the potential outcome throughout the month of June is you might not be feeling that happy, but something might come along financially. Some of you guys, you might receive a stable, brand new stable offer. Some of you, this could be inheritance. This could be, coming into money, tax rebates, these kind of things. Offers of employment, promotions, these kind of things. All right. So it might flip on a dime. The last couple of weeks of June, there might be something there which is really stable and solid comes your way when you were least expecting it and given up on it. Okay, let's have a look. I just want to clarify this King of Cups. All right, so we've got, the center of the reading, Taurus, was, intuitively, I have a lot of affection, but I need to keep it moving. I don't want to be stuck in this. For some of you, this person might have reached out, which has kept you stuck again. You're the best thing that ever happened to me. Some of you might still think that this person's the best thing that ever happened to you, even though they can't show up. And it might be coming from a place of unworthiness because you're fearing change, Taurus. Just watch those thoughts. Your focus is endings, okay, and options. And some of you might be scared because you think, I can't do better, okay? You come way closer than anybody else. It scared me, to be honest. Somebody got scared in this connection, okay? I cannot leave them. I want my cake and eat it. Look, for some of you guys, I do sympathize and empathize with you. It might have been a very deep connection, okay, which is still lingering in your energetic field, Taurus. You might have thought this was like the one, and yet life got in the way, and unfortunately, somebody wasn't showing up. They might have been a little bit immature here with the Knight of Swords, okay, and they might have, some of you might have had to throw yourself into work just to forget this, but it was very hard to do. Now, this is quite an interesting card here. I'm protective of you. Sorry if I seem controlling. And is this the conversation, that some of them came out with? I'm protective of you, and, selling you some kind of a story which, appeals to your Taurian heart, and then in reality they can't, they want their cake and eat it. Yes, it was a very deep connection, but don't get stuck, Taurus, thinking I can't do better than this person. Keep it moving. And I think it's come out in your readings before, when we're sending so much energy to these people, male or female, we're thinking about them. Very often they're thinking about us, and that's why we're picking up on it. But other times, if we're spending so much time obsessing, thinking, and energetically filling up their cups, they're walking around the world, happy-go-lucky, while you're being drained energetically. So watch that, okay? Because it might affect your self-confidence and your sense of self with the Empress in reverse here. And, as much as you throw yourself into work, it's just a distraction from your healing. So just watch that. But, others of you, an outcome is, some of you might have not been that happy at your work, and then suddenly you get a promotion and money looks good. All right, so that's quite positive, Taurus. If it is about love, all right, throughout the the last couple of weeks of June for you, Taurus, centered around this, High Priestess, King of Cups, and Six of Swords. All right, this is like intuitively loads of affection still, but I've got to move on. I've got to move away. You don't trust the situation. Come out in reverse, right? This situation is calling for you to have faith in reverse. Some of you intuitively, you just lost faith. But you're conflicted, Taurus. Express your love. Go ahead and make the romantic gesture. And that's keeping you stuck, Taurus. You might have all these wonderful ideas and plans of, yeah, what if I do it differently and I show them this? Maybe then they'll choose me and leave their cake and not want to eat it too. Be careful, Taurus. Don't make yourself stuck. For some of you, there's a new love, okay? A new person has stirred your romantic feelings. So some of you guys, all right, there might be someone new that stirred your romantic feelings and you're slowly releasing the past, even though you're scared to let go. You might not trust in new love. You might have an internal conflict about expressing love and then, no, I've lost all trust. What if I get hurt again? And all these kind of things, all right? And your fears is, I'm fearing destiny. I'm fearing taking control of my destiny. It's a fear. It's like a fear of success. Your energetic field, a lot of you don't want to reunite. You just want to drop the burden because it did detract from your Empress energy. Other than that, there's some kind of finances, all right? Something looking good, all right? Last couple of weeks. I want to take one of these, okay? Your focus is endings and options. Tell me more about that for you, Taurus, throughout the last couple of weeks of June. Something to bear in mind, something to consider, something that might help. Let's have a look. This one. The mind. Openness, flexibility, imagination, learning. And so, Taurus, your focus. Remember I was saying to you about the Seven of Cups. There's demons in there. There's snakes in there. There's people wearing fake masks. There's celebrations. There's beautiful stuff. There's jewels, Your focus is going to be flexible. You want new people, places, and things. You want to learn. You want to grow. But with newfound boundaries, you're not going to let your Empress, okay, turn upside down because it takes so long to heal. So you're going to take control of this change, Taurus. No one can change our state unless we give them permission. And so your mind is going to be very, very important. Mind control, Taurus, about not letting things overwhelm you, not being stuck, okay, with, projecting. When the Knight of Swords rushes in and says something, hanging on every word, thinking, oh, there's a possibility. And it's just maybe designed to keep you stuck because you are now stepping out of their control. Just for somebody, watch out for that, okay? That is a form of breadcrumbing and keeping you stuck as an option in order to elevate their ego. Because you did get some victory over some kind of heartbreak in the past, Taurus. I'm just wondering whether, some of you might have been going 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, and healing's like that, right? We can have resentment, then we can get acceptance, then we go into anger, then we go back to denial, and then acceptance again. It's a rocky road, healing. But it just, goes to show you that be careful who you give your heart and your mind to, because healing takes time. Patience. I accept that everything happens in divine order. So a lot of you realized it was a spiritual connection. I can't control other people. I can't control situations. There was a certain amount of acceptance that you got some kind of victory over heartbreak. And it might be unconditional love. Maybe you're learning the art of unconditional love. Yes, I love you. I adore you. But to be honest, your morals and values don't sit in line with me. Off you go. I'm going to live my life. I'm turning my Empress upright. I'm working on my coin. Who knows? Maybe you'll come back around. If you love someone, set them free. If they come back, it's meant to be, they say, right? But some of you might have been taking some of you might be in conflict, okay? Two ideas, constantly fighting each other, which is leaving you confused and a bit drained. Others of you are being very philosophical and going, it is what it is. But I realize that my mental state with my mind here, I'm staying open. I'm going to be flexible. I'm learning. I'm using my imagination. What else is out there? Possibilities. As opposed to, feeling stuck and you're the best thing that ever happened to me. You're kind of going, okay, well, if I experience that, maybe there's something better. Okay. So it's good, Taurus, all right? It's, putting that positive flip on things. Um, where was I going to go now? I just wanted to have a look at outside influences. What is that about? The Empress was in reverse and the Queen of Pentacles. So that was like, even though your confidence wasn't that great, it might have been knocked, Taurus, you might have been put out of balance. You were still kind of, yeah, you realize that someone, I'm restless and our goals are different. I'm just wondering whether it made you a little bit restless. You realize that, somebody wanted their cake and eat it, these kind of things. And it just took away from your Empress energy. I think it's a repetition. And, my readings come out every 2 weeks, guys. So there's small increments of change. Healing takes time. And sometimes, there might be one or two cards that are turned upright where they were in reverse. So, healing takes time. But I think you realize that, your goals were very different. And someone was still only a knight and they weren't showing up as an emperor, or a king. Even though you had a lot of affection for them, but just watch out that somebody might really want to work on it after deceit. Just be careful what you're taking back, Taurus, because you sometimes can give them permission to do it again. Don't be a walk in the park. Trust is earned, not given, Taurus. You would agree. So in measured time, we don't hang on everybody, somebody's every word, rushing in here with, like buying a bunch of flowers at the traffic lights, to say sorry, that kind of thing. A $2 bunch of roses. But where am I going to go now? Want one of these, actually. Okay, throughout this month, Taurus. Okay, something for you to consider. But watch out for, promotions, money, some kind of offer, stable offer. All right. Look, for some of the rare, just a select few, there might be someone coming back around after they've deceived you and they really want to put the work in. Okay. When I introduce joy to a situation, I change the vibrational frequency of what's happening around me. And so, like I said, some of you might take a very philosophical approach. Yes, very deep connection, loads of emotion, but I need to move on. And I'm going to follow joy. What else is out there? I'm going to be explorative. I'm going to be open. I'm going to be flexible. I'm going to use my imagination and I'm going to learn and I'm going to grow. What did I learn from this situation? Maybe my boundaries were too weak. Maybe I set myself up for disaster. Maybe, I do have a fear of success, which keeps me stuck and keeps my light dimmed, which keeps my Empress in reverse, right? All right, yeah, I might be looking good. I might have money, but on a soul level, I feel a bit empty. Very deep reading, Taurus. I wouldn't expect anything less from you. If you're a song, Taurus, throughout the last couple of weeks of June, lyrics might mean something. The band might mean something. The melody might evoke certain feelings within you. Something might bubble up which is left unhealed or unnoticed within you. We've got, I don't know how to pronounce this, Gymnopédies, #1 by Eric Satie. Okay, it's a beautiful piece of music. And the interesting thing about Eric Satie, all of his piano music was written by a woman, written for a woman. I think she didn't want him. And yet he stayed steadfast to loving her and he wrote all of this. It's quite a sad life he led, but some beautiful music here. So, You might have melancholic moments, Taurus, which is okay. We can create fine poetry and beautiful things. During, if you paint, it's great inspiration. The melancholic state, just watch that it doesn't go too far. From melancholy, we can go into depression. So, stay in that melancholy about spiritual connections and all these kind of things, and then lift yourself up. Don't forget to introduce some joy into a situation which will change the vibrational frequency of what's happening around you. So watch out for melancholy, okay? But looks good as far as work, maybe money, and these kind of things. I want to leave you one of these, right? A positive message to leave you with. I've given you quite a long reading today, Taurus. Let's have a look. Taurus. Mantra, something for you to carry through the last 2 weeks of June. Gratitude. Showing gratitude will make room for what you want to come effortlessly into your life, Taurus. Be grateful for small blessings. Then the universe, God, however you frame your belief system, can give you more. Be thankful that you're starting to be optimistic about options and choices, and using your mind to be open, flexible, with solid boundaries to shut things out that don't sit in line with your Empress energy, and focus on turning that upright, by the way. Okay. So Taurus, look, another couple of weeks of growth. Amazing. If you enjoy the content, please like, share, or subscribe. It means I can continue to do this for free. If you want a personal reading, you can reach out at moderntarot.net directly, or browse the YouTube Modern Tarot store, and I'll do my best to give you some clarity on your personal situations. In the meantime, Taurus, have an amazing 2 weeks of June, and I'll see you back here for another reading. Take care. Bye.